Hello, everybody. My name is Brittany. Thanks so much for joining me for this weekly webinar. This is the place where we give you actionable and how-to advice every single week to make sure that you are the most effective that you can be in your online business. Today's topic is giving your best yes, how to set and crush your business goals. Now, this is a concept that I've heard multiple times from people like Jenna Kutcher, and even Ali Casaza has covered this. And really, this topic has everything to do with knowing boundaries and how to set them properly, and also how to make sure that you feel healthy through the process of setting up your online business. Okay, now we deal a lot with websites, obviously, we're a Weeknight website, but I want to talk to you about some of the life choices that you can make that will actually help you get further faster in your online business and once you have your website set up. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to jump in. Point number one, determine your ultimate priority. Guys, this is a lesson that we have to learn from the time that we're like 10. My daughter, she's 12 and she's learning priorities. She's homeschooled, and I always tell her like, hey, have you started on school today? Because I don't tell her when to start on her schoolwork. If she starts on her schoolwork at 5 in the afternoon and she's working on it till bedtime, sorry, chica, that's what you got to do today. So the funny thing about this is that a lot of times in the society that we've grown up in, structure has been part of our daily routine, and other people's structure has defined how we process our information, how we organize our day. So what I'm going to challenge you is that if you are actually looking to make a move from working that 9-to-5 grind over here to your dream business, the thing that you first have to understand is that your priorities are going to determine your schedule. They're going to determine everything about your day, and they're going to determine on everything from your conversations to the people that you meet to the events that you say yes to. So knowing your priorities is really important. And if you're a member, I have a little cheat sheet for you at the end of this webinar that I'm going to share with you. It is my personal goal tracking worksheet, and it actually has helped me know step by step what are my goals, what are my priorities, and where am I putting my time, my focus, and my energy. So if you want to snag that, you have to be a Weeknight website member. So if you haven't already, you can sign up for a free trial at weeknightwebsite.com, or you can just go ahead and pull the trigger and build an awesome website with us. We love you guys and we really want you to be successful, so we help you in every way possible. We give you templates, we give you information, we give you all the stuff that you need to be successful building your own online business website. So there's that. So if you are a Weeknight website member, which if you're in this group, you are, hang around till the end of this webinar and I'm going to give you some practical advice on how to do this. All right, number two, you have to develop healthy boundaries, okay? Boundaries look like all sorts of different things. They're not just saying no. They're also saying yes. And if you listened to Kristen's weekly webinar last week, she talked about practicing the art of saying no. And it was such good advice because a lot of times we feel the necessity to say yes to people out of guilt or out of, oh, this will further me later, or, oh, this is a sacrifice that I need to make right now. But sometimes not all sacrifices will produce the right kind of result. You know what I'm saying? Let's think about this in a holistic mindset, okay? So sometimes if you're trying to lose weight and you're like, yes, but I'm not willing to sacrifice donuts, that's going to be problematic for you. You're either going to have to go and like burn all of that off in the gym, which P.S. I've tried that. It doesn't work, just FYI. Or you're going to end up feeling frustrated because you're never meeting your goals. And it's because you didn't set healthy boundaries for yourself, saying, you know what, I am going to treat myself once a week to this thing, but I'm not going to force myself to do that every single, like I'm not going to allow myself to do that every single night. So it's the same thing with our schedules and our online business. When you start a website, it can be really easy to be overwhelmed with all the things. Okay, there's a lot to do when you start a website. It's not like, oh, plug and play. I mean, it is if you have our templates, wink, wink, shameless plug. But what I'm going to say is just that, honestly, guys, you have to set boundaries that work for you and work for your family. And the only way you know what those boundaries are is if you get on back to point number one and remember that your priorities have to line up with your boundaries. So if I say my priority is blogging for the Weeknight website blog to produce content for my beautiful members every single week, then if I make a priority of doing client work over doing my blog, then I've essentially said no to my priority and given preference to somebody else's priority. This is something I'm preaching to myself, okay? I'm not saying that I'm perfect at this. It has taken me years, almost 10 years of trying to refine this process for myself. And it looks different in every season. You know, when my dad got cancer a few years ago, he's totally well and totally healthy, just throwing that out there right there. I don't want anyone getting any ideas. But when my dad came down with cancer, he was a priority for our family. So we literally picked up our family for a month and we moved to Virginia because that was where my dad was located. And so because he was the priority, I was able to say, okay, I know that I have to do this thing, and this is something that I'm supposed to do as his daughter and something that I want to be there for him and my mom. So when I was able to define that that was my priority, it shifted, okay? But once I defined that, I was able to say, okay, now what can I handle within that priority? All right, so what are my priorities that fall underneath of that? And that brings me to point number 3. Your priorities are not always the same in every season, okay? Your ultimate goals in life, yes, those things, your ultimate like calling, your ultimate thing that you want to do, the thing you love and you're passionate about, that will never change. That's your heartbeat. That's the thing that drives you to be good at what you do, right? That's never going to change. But what is going to change is the things underneath of that, the priority tasks underneath of that will change throughout your life there, and you need to have flexibility to say, okay, this summer my kids are out of school and I want to be with them, and what that looks like is me taking more time off of work. So what do I need to do now that will enable that lifestyle later without me feeling like I've totally missed out on everything? Now, shameless plug again, I have some more tips for you guys on how exactly to realign your priorities and how to make sure that you get everything done even when you feel super overwhelmed and super busy, so that you can take a sick day and you can be tired one day and you can just be like, hey, I'm going to the pool today, it's summer, like I'm out. Or you can say, hey, I don't work on holidays, that's just not something that I do. Those are things that when you start an online business, those become treasures, because when you're working a full-time job, you punch in, you punch out, you're done, you know? Not so with an online business. With an online business, people are consistently and constantly reaching out to you and expecting immediately like to get responses and to get responded to. And you don't want to miss out on an opportunity to connect with somebody who might genuinely really want what you're offering, but you also don't want to run yourself into the ground to the point where you can't function as a person and you're no longer valuable to the people around you. So this is about protecting you and building an online business. So it's a balance. All right. So that brings me to point number 4, batch everything. Okay, all the things, batch them all, guys. I'm telling you, when I learned the secret of batch working, which I now do for my blogs and I do for certain pieces of content that I know that I've got heavy amounts of content to do, or if I know that I'm really into my website right now and I just want to like go and do a redesign and like update this and add new pages and clean things up, then I allow myself the time and the space to batch that, all right? But you have to do it the right way, because you can't just be like, okay, guys, I'm shutting my email off for 2 days and I'm not going to do anything. I'm calling in sick. I'm not doing anything at all, and go into batch mode, because you'll only get away with that probably like once. And then nobody else will trust you because they don't know that you're there. They don't know that you're available. They don't know that you're caring about them. So what my suggestion is, again, at the end of the webinar, for all of my beautiful Weeknight website members, I'm going to talk to you about how to batch your schedule in a really manageable and really effective way that's going to help you produce more content in less time. All right, so that's my super secret little tip. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something else. This batching secret, it's the dirty little secret to productivity. Okay, so all those influencers online that you see, all those people churning out content day after day, and they're like live on Facebook, live on YouTube, doing this thing, doing that thing. Every time you see them doing that, it's because they've scheduled it. Okay? They didn't just happen to decide to do a live. Sometimes they will, and it's spontaneous, and that's cool. But most of the time, those things are planned in advance, especially when it comes to a marketing campaign, all right? So I want to give you guys the permission to give yourself a little bit of runway to get started, okay? This is not easy stuff. You're talking about things that have taken marketers and other online influencers years to learn, okay? So those are my main tips. Now, here's the little segment where we go into the reality check, all right? So the reality check is only for our Weeknight website members. This is the portion of the segment where you get inside exclusive how-to information for you, how you can actually implement these things in your business. So Weeknight website members, perk up, here we go, here's your bonuses, all right? So number 1, here are the practicals on how to get these things done, because I know you're thinking, you just gave me 4 really good points, but how? How am I even going to do this? How am I going to manage this on top of what I'm already doing without feeling stressed and anxiety and overwhelmed? Because none of those feelings are good, and none of those feelings are welcome in our online businesses. We do not welcome those things in. We want to stay positive. We want to have good energy. We want to be creative, and we want to take time to actually create the things that we love. That's the only way that you're going to really sustainably build an online business that you love and care about and want to do 10 years from now. All right? So my first little tip is to use my priority tracker worksheet, okay? I made this for you guys this morning, and I just basically took what I normally do is I literally just grab like a blank sheet of paper and I just draw a line down the middle of it. It's not pretty. It's not pretty like this one. So this one is designed especially for you guys because I love you so much. And I made you something so that I didn't have to show you my chicken scratch drawing of what I do. Now, this goal tracker priority worksheet will have you list on the left-hand side all of your priorities, okay? So your priorities, the thing that you in this like season, and I do this like once every 2 months, honestly. I do this like maybe even more frequently, sometimes once every month, depending on how quickly I'm getting through my priorities. So what I do is I go in, I don't list my overwhelming, overarching goal. What I do is I list the things that go into that goal. I went through and I said, okay, produce weekly content of value to my user, all right? Then I looked at my schedule, and in the actual column, I wrote down all of the things that I was actually giving time and priority to, all right? So content was number one, highest top on my priorities, but content was nowhere on my actual list. So then what you have to do is you have to actually say, what needs to come off of my actual list, all right? And for me, one of the things that had to come off of that actual list was, this is really crazy because like this is really vulnerable stuff that I'm talking about. So don't ever feel weird if you're sharing that kind of stuff with us, because that's what we do. We literally like just open our diary and let you read. So one of the things that had to come off of my plate was social media for a little bit, because it wasn't sustainable to what I was doing now, right? Like the content needed to be the main focus. And now social media was still a priority, and so it had to shift, but I had to gain momentum on one of my priorities. And then in the batching section, I'll talk about how I was able to accomplish all of my priorities through the batching system, which made it a little easier, okay? All right, so the next thing is to start time blocking your calendar, all right? This is an extreme example, okay? Somebody really likes their Google Calendar. I just grabbed this screenshot online because I was like, ooh, pretty colors. And it's just a really good example of extreme time blocking. Now, some people are like this. Some people love to time block this way, right? So this person has like breakfast and reading time and like travel and commute and exercise and personal goals and top priority tasks and things like that. And they've broken it down differently. Now, for you with your online business, most of the time you're going to be balancing either a full-time job, or if you're a freelancer, then you're going to be managing clients or things like that. So this is going to look very different for you. So what I want you to do is once you get this priority list done, this one back here, once you get the priority list done, then I want you to schedule in your blocks for personal time. And then after that, so like you know that you need to eat every day. That's real. You know that you need to exercise every day because it makes you feel better, whether it be some yoga or some Pilates or some weight training, whatever that looks like for you. You know you need a little bit of physical activity every day. And then you know that you need time with your family, or you need time to read, or you need time for education. Those kinds of things that are personal priorities for you. Practicing your music, if you're a musician in here, you need time with your instrument every day. That kind of situation. So schedule those things first. Okay, work needs to fit inside of the life that you have. Otherwise, it's not going to work, right? So schedule your priority times for yourself first. Then the second thing you need to do is, if you have a full-time job or if you have clients that need work, then you schedule those things in, and then you can see where the gaps are. So then once you've seen where the gaps are, you can actually move them down. You can move your client work down. If you have a full-time job, that's a lot less flexible. So sorry about you, like that's like kind of not flexible there, but you can definitely block your evenings. So you could say like every Monday I do blog writing, every Tuesday I do music production or, design work. Every Wednesday I do education, right? Okay, so then what you do is you go in and you schedule the things that are priorities to you that you have to get done, that you want time for, okay? So for me, it would be like blogging and video creation and things like that, okay? So just think about what those things are for you. And if you have problems with this, pop comments in the below, in the comment section. I'll be in there hanging out and ready to like help you, like, hey, is this a good priority? Or like, where do I put this, or any thoughts, Also, one thing about training your brain to be creative, there was a really famous writer that was having an interview, and the interviewee said, so when do you write? Do you write in the mornings, or do you write only when you're inspired? Do you write at a certain time of the day? And he said, yes, I only write when I'm inspired every morning at 5 a.m. All right. So I love that quote because it speaks to the power of us being able to train our brain how to do something and do it well at the same time every day. Now, this may feel really regimented for my creatives out there, and I'm sorry. I know I'm with you. I feel you. But when I added structure to my life in this way, I'm a creative too. I'm a musician. I love design, so I get it. I get all of those things. But when I started adding this structure to my life, it totally changed how I looked at my life, and it totally changed the times that my brain turned on creatively. So you can train your brain to do it. I promise. It takes a little bit of doing, but once you've got it done, you'll feel so much better and you'll have more energy and you'll know exactly what you're doing throughout the day. All right. So last thing is make a mindset shift, okay? If you haven't read this blog, Kristen probably could write a book on this kind of stuff. She's amazing at it. She's like my coach when it comes to mindset. But honestly, if you haven't read this blog, you can go check it out on our website. It's the most current blog that we have up there right now. Go ahead and read this and let me know what you think about it. You can pop a little thread into the Weeknight Warriors group. We'd love to hear what you have to think about all this content. Is it helping you? Is it not helping you? But in this blog, Kristen covers mindsets, and your brain is the most powerful muscle in your body. And if you're not training your brain to think positively and to actually engage your goals on a realistic level, then you're not going to be as effective as you could be. So she talks about mindset shifts and how to stay consistent. And that is one of the biggest problems that most people have when they're creators or when they're, when they ideate all the time. And I call it ideation paralyzation because that is just my MO. Like, I will have all the ideas forever, all the ideas. If you need ideas, come to me. I got you. But what's the problem is, like, I don't have the space or the energy or even the mental clarity to really do all of those ideas at one time. Okay, so I have no problem giving away $1 million ideas. It doesn't hurt my feelings because I am never going to be able to get to all the ideas that I get in a lifetime. So if you have problems with having so many ideas, write them down in an idea file. And when you're feeling uninspired, when you're feeling, I need something new to do, go to your idea file and look at that. And then the last thing that I kind of wanted to talk about was the batching. All right. So we talked about batching a little bit in the beginning of this webinar, but batching is powerful because you're doing the same task and you're doing it for a certain amount of time. All right. So this is different than time blocking because batching would look like I literally am only focused on writing my blog post that day or doing my keyword research for my blog post that day. Or I'm only working on the design of my website today, right? So batching looks very different than calendar blocking. You can kind of combine the two, like a little bit. But in general, batching is really helpful. And if this is a great time to set aside time to batch because people are getting ready for the fall already. Like, dude, if you look on Pinterest right now, there is already pumpkin spice era thing all over there. So if you're prepping and getting ready for the fall, knowing that fall is generally online sales peak season, okay, especially if you're going to do a Black Friday sale or something like that, which I highly recommend. And if you want something about that, let us know because we'll be happy to run a webinar on that. Honestly, guys, this stuff right here, this is all locked down in, not all of it, but most of it is locked down only for members. And we teach you how to do your keyword research. So you could literally go through all of these content marketing 101 and be like, today, I'm only doing keyword research for the next 2 months worth of blogs. What does this do for you? All right, here's the main reason why you need to do batching. If you get sick, if you need time off, if you want to go on vacation, if you need to go on maternity leave, if you want to go on paternity leave, any kind of that situation, You need to be prepared for your website and your social media to be automatically updating for you in the background so that you're not having to think about it and do it while you're trying to be resting and away. This is really important because if you don't do this, then you don't have any backup to fall back on. So for me, I generally blog 2 to 4 weeks in advance. So when I write a blog or I record a video and then put it up in a blog, I am literally like doing that, and then it's like 2 weeks before it even hits the airwaves, okay? And this is generally what most content creators are doing. They're batching. So they're like, hey, I have all these outlines and I'm going to record all the videos for these outlines today. Then the next day they're like, okay, cool. Now I need the transcripts for all these videos. Now here's our other dirty little secret. We take all of these weekly webinars and we trim them down and make them pretty for YouTube. So we're getting YouTube exposure out of it. Then what we do is we take it and we make a transcript, which you can use tons of different tools for this, but Temi.com is amazing for that. It's 10 cents per minute, which is like so cheap. Ends up being like $3 for a 30-minute video, which is fabulous. And it'll give you the transcript. Now you do have to edit it. Do not just slap that sucker on your website. I promise it'll not end well. So go in and edit that. Then you get pull quotes out of that and you grab the image from the blog and you post that on your social media. So now with very little effort, we've created 4 different types of post content right there. So we've done a weekly webinar for our members. We've done a video for YouTube. We've done a blog post and we've done social media updates. Guys, do this kind of stuff. Literally, please, I'm begging you, do this stuff. It is so, so valuable for your business and it makes it so much easier to produce higher volume and higher quality content on a regular basis. So that's pretty much it for me today. Don't forget that we do have a blog, and here's that blog I was just talking about, Mindset Shifts to Stay Consistent. And it's now live and available for you, weeknightwebsite.com/blog. And you can go check out all of our content. We have so many pieces of content now because we've been doing this for a while. So stay consistent. It pays off. I promise. We were like just being so excited about how many blogs we had the other day. I want to thank you guys again so much for tuning in today. We really love these webinars. They've been so special and so important to us. If you want to see more topics, please put them in the comments. I love it. I love when you guys talk to me. So put them down in the comments. Let me know how you feel. And let me know if you have any tips on how you can give your best yes when you're starting your online business. Thanks again, guys. Hope to see you.